Barnaby's story really starts with when I was pregnant. I was huge, I was massive, I had polyhydramnios. I had a very quick labour, as I had with his older brother, Ted. We had a very experienced midwife who luckily picked up on stuff quite early. Paediatrician came in, did some tests, and then he was whisked away. Duncan, my husband, came in with the doctors and the paediatricians. I knew something was wrong just by their faces. It was just a complete blur. I'd never heard of the condition. All of these words they were chucking at me and terms they were chucking at us, we had absolutely no idea. Luckily, TOFS were there, and I went on the website and suddenly there was all this information about what the condition was. We found out that he had long gap esophageal atresia, which means there's no connection between the mouth and the stomach, and he had to stay in NICU for 3 months before they could operate to join the two ends of the esophagus together. Initially, that operation was a success, and Barnaby was taken back onto the intensive care unit, high dependency. He was put into an induced coma because he couldn't move because of where they had done the resection. That was traumatic, very traumatic. There's lots of ups and downs, and my goodness, monitors, it is sickening. It's very, very hard. They extubated him and he came off, and about a week later, we had him home. It was amazing. Coming home was exciting, but also worrying. We had pumps because he had the gastrostomy. We settled into Barnaby being at home, being fed on a pump. It was clear that things weren't going to be quite as clear-cut and easy as we hoped they'd be. He just started having lots and lots of problems. The most significant thing was that he was stricturing. Every 10 days, he was having trouble swallowing his saliva. He was having ear infections. He couldn't sleep properly. Just before he was 8 months old, he had to have an emergency dilatation. Unfortunately, during that procedure, his esophagus was perforated. We were blue lighted to Great Ormond Street Hospital. We were introduced to Mr. Kiley, Barnaby's saviour. We were there for about 10 weeks, where he had numerous problems, including a collapsed lung. Mr. Kiley was trying to find ways of lengthening the time between having to have dilatations, which included him having a stent, injections into the esophagus and 2 Nissans. He just didn't get a rest. Mr. Kiley said that he thought that the best option was to completely start again. We went down to Great Ormond Street for the operation. Luckily, we were called up. We were in our favourite little cafe opposite Great Ormond Street. Mr. Kiley said that he was really pleased with the state he found the esophagus in, and he was able to do a resection. When he came back from the operation and he was in intensive care, he lost a lot of blood. He was losing loads and loads of blood, and obviously we thought we were over that first massive hurdle of the operation, and we didn't know where it was coming from. And Mr. Kiley had said, right, we're going to have to go back into the operating theatre, and that was just gutting. But some kind of miracle, they don't know where the blood was coming from, but it stopped. They gave him a blood transfusion. That 8 days felt like forever, just wanting him to be well and just being so worried that he might, something might go wrong, because he was now, he's our Barnaby, he's this personality, he's this little boy who, is such a fun, lively, beautiful little boy. But all went well and he came out of the coma. This is Barnaby waking up, hopefully. We got home. From then, he's just been amazing, and his eating's improved so much to the point where he had his gastrostomy removed. Where are we, Barney?
Great Ormond Street.
And what's just happened in Great Ormond?
Gastrostomy has came out.
What?
Your gastrostomies come out. High five. So after 4.5 years, your gastrostomies come out. You're just such a brave boy, hasn't it? Thumbs up.
I did a thumbs up. What's it?
He loves life and he does breakdancing. He loves his breakdancing. He's a swimmer. He is just a happy, determined, active little boy. We are so proud of him. We are so thankful to Mr. Kylie, TOFS and Great Ormond Street. Us raising money and raising awareness is really important.
Please